Hello everyone. You guys have been asking some great questions, and one of those is why on earth would people lie to us about the shape of the earth and how it moves and all of these things that seem insignificant. And the shape of our earth really is not that big of a lie. It's pretty well done. They've done a good job convincing us all that we live on a spinning ball, but that's not really why I'm here and made this channel in the first place. And I want to take you on the journey that I went down that answers the question why. It's very simple, it's very easy, and there's scripture to back that up, and we will go over all of that, so stay with us, and I will start out with what led me to this journey in the first place, and that is evolution. Because I taught evolution, I still am required to teach it as if it has been proven fact, not allowed to question it, and I saw all sorts of different proofs growing up, and they really shaped my mind. Not that I believed any of them after I, found truth, but these things, you've probably seen them, like these pictures of these embryos. And they were drawn over 100 years ago, and were admitted to be a hoax over 100 years ago. And they're still in textbooks today, and they show how similar we are to other organisms at early stages, because after all, we're all part of one big family tree, they say. But it's hoaxes like this that got my wheels turning as to what else are they lying about. And so I saw the evidence and the proof that it was a huge lie myself, because you can actually look at real pictures of these things now and realize they're not similar, but they're still on tests today. Okay, I've administered these tests. They're still on them. But then you have people like, look at the Java man here. Look at the hair on this guy. They put the hair of a black man and the skin color of a black man because these were white Freemason racist individuals wanting to make it look like black men were more related to these ape-man links than white people. Very racist. So I really find it hard to believe that there's so many people that are buying into this crap. But to each their own. You can believe it. I'm not saying you're dumb for believing it. We've seen lots of evidence of it. But most of this evidence, like the Piltdown Man, was a Hollywood prop. It was a painted bone fragment with the teeth filed down to look more human-like. I mean, it's very, very sad, some of the things and the links they've gone to fool people for generations. The Piltdown Man was 40 years in a museum, and here's the Nebraska Man, beautiful specimen of a man that was made from the tooth of a pig. That's all they had, and they made this Nebraska Man, and it was front page news, and everybody was impressed and oohing and awing. And then you had the Neanderthal, who all these paintings, look at these bone structures. It was old people with rickets and different bone structures, but they're basically human DNA. They're no different than you and I, other than some abnormalities with rickets. And then you have the dino bird here, and this is still looked at as one of the links between dinosaurs and birds, because scales turn into feathers. That's just how it works with mutations. But it was a hoax, and admitted to be a hoax, and National Geographic's admitted that they were sorry for doing that. And then you have this fish here, the coelacanth, that I saw coladograms and many good pictures about, and it was a fish that learned to walk on land and eventually grew feet, arms, and legs and all that. Sadly, they still exist. I was lied to. My childhood was a lie. And then you hear we're 98% chimpanzee, almost 99%, and it's really good math. What's the math? They just cut out the parts that don't match right here, which happens to be 1.3 billion letters. And then guess what? Let's do some math here, people, and look at the remaining letters and say, oh wow, they're 98.77% match. Okay, that's not shady at all. You're just going to exclude this chunk here that we've cut out and this chunk here, and do some math, and then realize that really these evolutionists, or at least 3 out of 1 of them, are bad at fractions. They're horrible. So it's kind of sad, but that's the math that we're exposed to. And then you look at the first cell that appeared 3.8 billion years ago, even though we don't have the cell fossil to prove it. 3.8 billion years ago, and since then 5 billion species have occurred through macroevolution. Very slow process. That's still more than 1 species per year, but most of these species occurred after the dinosaurs, with 700 species of dinosaurs being known. So to find out how many species per year would arise, You do some simple math, and it's around 77 species per year. So definitely not what we thought was slow. Evolution's really fast. We should be studying it with time lapse. But why all the fraud, you say? Why lie about this? Because we do not need to know how loved we are. We're not allowed to talk about creation or how special we are. And you can't convince little people of this if you don't teach it to them at an early age. Okay? But then I started looking at the math of the cells, the statistics here. Okay? Each cell has about 1 billion phospholipids. These phospholipids are only made in the cells. Okay? And what are the chances of 1 billion of these, 3.8 billion years ago, just existing on their own, finding DNA and wrapping around it to make a cell? Self-replicating DNA. There's no chance of that. Okay? DNA is very intricate. We have animations now that show us how awesome creation is, that there is intelligent design behind this. And there's a book that actually has evidence that it's accurate, that's been found and preserved in the Dead Sea Scrolls, that talked about creation. And it talked about an ark, Noah's Ark. And it sounds funny, it sounds comical, they make it seem like such a joke. But the ark was found and verified and is a national park in Turkey. I didn't know this. Okay, this thing has hardly any visitors. It's still there. You can go see it. The measurements are 100% accurate. There are metals used in this thing that we didn't even know mankind had access to back then. And it's a giant megastructure. It is phenomenal. Okay, it's found. We'll leave a link in the description so you can explore this yourself. If you've never heard of it, quite impressive. Okay, and it's still there. You can go visit this thing. Okay, it's still there for now. And there's also evidence of the parting of the Red Sea, and this happened in the book of Exodus. This is where God parted the sea for Moses and the slaves in Egypt who were set free, and they walked right through. And then Pharaoh's people tried to come after them. The chariots were destroyed. It's a really cool movie. If you ever get to watch the old movie, they did a great job back then. But these chariot wheels are still down there, and some of them quite well preserved. The ones that were made out of gold, you can still see the gold on them. It's shiny. There's bone fragments, horse hoofs, lots of different things that have no right being there, unless, of course, these chariots were at the bottom of the ocean when this thing collapsed around them. Okay? Wasn't like they were on top of a frozen sea. Okay, this is saltwater here, and it's not a part of the world where it freezes. But you look at this, they're still there. These people found them. Some people were trying to debunk this, and they found evidence that defied their belief. Okay, so here's these wheels. Very nice, very, very symmetrical, and they're still there. I would love to go diving down there and find some of these things. But you're never going to see it on front page news, even though it is groundbreaking discoveries. Okay, and the book that these vents are in, they prophesied about a Messiah, and the rulers of this world knew he was coming. They killed many firstborn children to stop him, but he was born by the grace of God, and he fulfilled these prophecies. And this is one of the biggest things they're doing right now, is trying to erase his existence, pretend that he was a hoax, so that you will not find salvation in the grace and love that is there for you, and you will not burn forever if you reject this love. You can perish. That's the other alternative. Okay? The eternal beings that are causing such mischief, they'll burn forever. We're not. You and I are not eternal unless we have salvation. And evolution is just one of those small little lies, like the shape of our earth, that stops us from finding truth. Okay? Lots of different things. You can find it. We're going to take you on a journey. Of course, hopefully you can see now that there are things hidden from you that you weren't aware of. And it kind of made me angry. And it's put me on a mission to really point you people and brothers and sisters in the right direction. Okay? That's why I started another channel in the first place. This is actually a second channel that I had to start once I got in trouble for bad-mouthing these fake evidence and NASA and other organizations, and scientifically valid organizations like NASA. And so I'm not allowed to question that, so I was told to remove my face from that. So that's why you won't see my face on this channel for now. If I have a new job or something changes, you might. But it's not about me, it's not about us. And we're about to show you why they lie about the shape of our earth in just this next little segment. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. This is part 1 of why they lie. We're going to have a part 2 here very shortly, but hopefully this clarifies some of the why before we dive into why the whole globe earth deception came into being as well. Okay, so thanks for watching, and tune in to part 2. God bless.